Now, if you only watch the mainstream media or read the big city papers, it'd be very easy for you to be discouraged, if not despondent, about the future of our country. I'll admit I'm deeply bothered by the direction that I've observed the past few years, with radical socialists getting elected and advocating policies that will destroy what has been the most empowering economy in the history of the world. Folks, America has lifted more people out of poverty in the past 250 years than all of the nations of the world combined until now. We've just done that. I'm heartbroken to see politicians forcing taxpayers to fund the cold-blooded killing of unborn babies for no reason other than for the money to be made by Planned Parenthood, which, by the way, is an organization that was founded by a real racist, Margaret Sanger. She openly declared that black people were inferior to white people and they shouldn't breed. Now, you tell me why the American left embrace all of that while pretending to be against white supremacy and racism, and it escapes me. We're now discovering that the so-called scientific experts like Dr. Fauci were covering up how the Wuhan virus really started, and that much of the science that we were being fed was actually political science, not medical science. And doctors who suggested using inexpensive and readily available drugs like hydroxychloroquine or ivermectin, they got drummed out of medicine and were forbidden to even discuss it on platforms like YouTube, Twitter, or Facebook. Now it turns out those doctors were right all along. Folks, President Trump was falsely accused of urging people to drink bleach, and that's something he never did. He didn't drink it, and he didn't encourage people to drink it either. He got banned from all social media. Now think about this, the sitting elected president. At the same time, Iranian dictators were still able to stay on those very platforms. No doubt, big tech is wholly owned by the radical left, as is the education industry, which has become an indoctrination industry. Inexplicably, big corporations have totally surrendered to the wokeness of the far left, and they have showered Marxist organizations like Black Lives Matter with millions of dollars so they can spew their hatred of the police in the country. And those same colossal corporations, they cozy up to China to make big bucks by producing cheap stuff over in China and then selling at a huge profit in the U.S., all the time turning a blind eye to the atrocious human rights violations of the Chinese Communist Party. American professional sports have completely sold their soul to the Communist Chinese, as has Hollywood and the entertainment industry, which, by the way, the movie industry now seeks China's approval before they will even release a movie. So how can we be optimistic in the face of all of this? Well, here's how. An increasing number of Americans are fed up. They've had it up to here, and they're standing up, speaking up, and fighting back. In North Carolina, a county government has taken the Coca-Cola machines out of the county property just to protest Coke's hypocritical and self-righteous attacks on the state of Georgia. Parents across the country in places like Leesburg, Virginia, California, even Manhattan, are actually showing up at school board meetings and demanding that the nonsense of telling little boys that they can declare themselves to be girls and play girls' sports and then go shower with the girls, they've said this has got to stop. They're no longer tolerating the idiocy of telling children there are 57 genders. And they are demanding that teachers no longer force kids to use nonsensical pronouns like z or zai or zers instead of she, he, or they. By the way, Governor Ron DeSantis of Florida, he stood up to the tot-like tantrum of the NCAA. They said that they wouldn't play sports in Florida if Florida requires that male and female athletes play in their own gendered sports. You know what Governor DeSantis did? He told them to put it where the sun don't shine. And, folks, the sun shines brightly in Florida. It is the Sunshine State. Senator Rand Paul has challenged Dr. Fauci and the pseudoscientists for telling us to not wear masks and then demanding that we wear them, even 2 or 3 masks. And he's boldly demanded answers about the origin of COVID. And then pastors like my friend Rob McCoy out in California refused to allow the government to tell him that strip clubs were essential, but churches weren't. They threatened Pastor McCoy that they were going to shut down his church. You know what happened? He said, well, good luck. Instead, he kept having services, and his church is running beyond capacity. They have the largest attendance in the church's history, and a whole lot of people who don't have any church background at all are showing up at the services because they respect a pastor who stands for something rather than who falls for the government lies and manipulations. We got a long way to go, but there is hope on the horizon. By the way, one of the last places to be impacted by wokeness is our beloved military. But it's also being infected with this craziness. But as you're going to see tonight, there are some members of the military standing up for the oath they took to defend this great country. Because if America is as evil and racist as the left says we are, then we shouldn't be defending the country. So yes, there's hope. Always is. I'm reminded, greater is He that is in you than he that is in the world. So I beg you, stand up, speak up, and fight back. It is not too late. Thanks so much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed that video. If you did, be sure to leave a like, then subscribe, and hit the notification bell below. Now, if you didn't like it, you ought to find a Ben Shapiro video to detox you with more facts.